Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali. Please listen to the whole share all the way through. And I want you to know I treasure you. Please like and comment. And if you can't comment, you can email me at theradicalsister@outlook.com so we can make a record of this burgeoning return to the worst days of slavery. All right, that's what they're building up to, and we got to stop it right now. Don't say Hebrew Israelites anymore. I guess that's anti-Semitic somehow. Now, I haven't watched all of the excellent, highly well-produced Hebrews to Negroes documentaries. I don't know how many there are. I see this is the second one. But I did watch a good portion, and I've seen the intellectual investigation that goes on that fortifies the guidance that the producers are putting out there. And it's not petty. It's not dangerous to anybody on the planet, other than if you have a repugnance to truth. Then you might have an issue with it. So the fact that Kyrie Irving just posted the thumbnail of the documentary that's on Amazon, and he was vilified for that. I don't think that was just a checkers move. I think that was a chess move. Now, I'm not accusing Kyrie of anything, but it is pitiful that he's come out with this super groveling apology immediately over just the facts. And I'm going to read what he said. While doing research on Yahweh, I posted a documentary that contains some false anti-Semitic statements. Now, when they say this, that demands declaring exactly what was said, because otherwise it's an advertisement for the documentary. I'm thinking now I have to go and watch the whole thing, and I don't really have time to be distracted. Like, that's not a distraction. There's certain distractions, really distractions. That is study. That's research. That's vital. But I do my best to expose the horror of man-made radiation, because this is a war going on right now, front and center. But the problem is that as we wake up, Black people here in the unentitled Snakes of America, as we wake up, you're more than likely, I'm not saying you actually will, but the chances you are going to run into a sister like me and my proven warning go up exponentially. I'm not saying it's not about me, but it is about our waking up. Waking up enough so that you start to question, well, who are all these, sheepskin Negroes they got out here? I don't know the trajectory of the title of that documentary, but from Hebrews, as we started out, to Negroes, the only amazing thing that white people have ever produced is ends. I don't use the full term the way my king is very comfortable using, and I don't control that man. No, I don't, and I wouldn't want to. All right, there's a rationale between why he uses the language he uses. But that said, that's the one thing that they've created that is amazing, because it has transformed the world with the most hedonistic useless encouragement and enticements. I'll be watching Korean drama and then suddenly, it's unavoidable. Everybody, in order to be seen as legitimate, will inflect in their movements, in their tonality, blackness in their restrictively limited definition control by our enemy and the enemy of the planet when you think about Fukushima fallout. And so that's the only thing that they've created 100% to themselves. And just to put it as, it's all false, that's what they do. No, they don't do any further investigation, like they were accusing the minister of being anti-Semitic. They just bashed everybody with that. And some of it, I think to myself, it might have been deliberate so that they could set up the process of being able to take somebody down whenever they feel like it. So, going back to Kyrie's super bowed down apology and my point that I wonder, was this all just set up? Just set up. Okay? I posted a documentary that contains some false anti-Semitic statements, narratives, and language that were untrue and offensive. Is that their way of saying the whole documentary is untrue? No, these are historical documents being used to prove that, yes, black us, we need to wake the heck up. And offensive to the Jewish race. They're not a race. They're not a separate race. They're Caucasians. They're from the Khazarian tribe, the Caucasus Mountains, right? And there's lots that you can't say anymore because they've censored out just telling the truth. Okay? So that's what's offensive, is that for them, they don't get we can't practice our religion by telling the truth at all. Okay? And I take full accountability and responsibility for my actions. This is just way too submissive for it not to have been part of who he is. My king and I were discussing how all these super rich Negroes, you mean you don't own anything of yours? You don't own outright? You ain't got the deed to your home? Then you ain't rich. You never have been rich, because that would mean that you haven't owned your own home since you signed all them contracts and started collecting those checks. That's really bad money management. To have millions of dollars paid to you each year and you don't own your home enough that no matter what somebody, whatever endorsements you no longer have, what does it matter? And I would say that you would know from looking at all these friggin' bowed down Procyon loaders that you play on the teams with, you up there in the locker room with them. You know how friggin' bowed down they are. And you don't think to yourself, well, I ain't got no safety with these Negroes. I best make sure I could save myself. And you don't have that you need to immediately offer up this friggin' pathetic apology here to people who own you and are obviously in contempt of you completely. Now you're going to walk around the rest of your daggone life looking like a coward. What? You don't have any backup for that? And as an officially working class person, I protest this just depiction of being working class as the worst thing ever. Oh my goodness, these people would rather chop off their whole genitalia, metaphorically, than to just return to what they were born into. Because I know these folks weren't born rich. They act like, you ever seen the tape of the white man in court who he burned his whole house down? I don't know if he killed his wife in the middle of that or what. But in the middle of the courtroom when he was found guilty, he swallowed, or he just put it under his tongue, a cyanide pill. Because he couldn't stand or handle the idea that he wouldn't have access to all his luxury anymore? What? Is that how weak you are? You would have been one of the cats jumping off the Empire State Building during the first great crash, the second, third, fourth. They always manipulate the markets. I'm just saying, you'd rather be hanging around a bunch of your owners who treat you with complete contempt, watching, what's his face, Charlemagne the Joke, with that lead Leonard Cohen on his platform. Leonard Cohen was treating him with such contempt and disdain. It was just nasty to watch. Right? You rather suffer that, knowing you have no power whatsoever every single day, than to just say, you know what? I feel so much freer living up here in the hood. Thank you very much. Right? And keep going. And I take full accountability and responsibility for my actions. I am grateful to have a big platform. How big is it? You don't own it. That's teeny tiny. You can't get any teenier tinier than that. Then you got to humiliate yourself worldwide with this. Because trust and believe, the whole world is paying attention to us. I've got cats over in Japan, work big, huge companies, 300,000 employees doing searches on who I am. And I have a teeny tiny platform. Okay? So I want to move forward and have an open dialogue. No, you are going to have an open script that is written up by our enemy. When they, and I don't mean just the Jewish people, I mean whiteism. Because it's all orchestrated to keep us from being able to have a real open dialogue. You're going to have an open dialogue that's approved by them. That's not open. That's not open. Right? And grow from this. No, you going back down into the dirt. You ain't growing from this. You need to grow some balls, okay? To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post. And blackers weren't affected by your groveling? Wow, that's sorrowful. That's sorrowful. If the truth hurts you, that's problematic for the whole planet. Because we got an radioactive disaster of epic proportions that ain't nobody talking about to the level that it needs to be discussed, because all those voices are part of the censorship. Right? I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain. Man, you can't grovel more. Over what? Hebrews to Negroes? Stop. I initially reacted out of emotion. No intellect involved. I mean, damn, to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic. What? He was emotional over something that was just thoroughly inaccurate? Right? That's just, instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters are not your brothers and sisters. And you're going to capitalize that. What? Right? I don't know. I don't think that he watches my shares, but maybe somebody reads my comments, because I always capitalize brothers and sisters, but I don't do it towards the enemy. I capitalize it towards my family, you. That's it. And I certainly don't call not a single non-black person brother and sister. If you're speaking some truth, I might call you beloved. Right? But that doesn't mean that I love you. That just means I hope that you are loved and appreciated for having the nerve to speak some amount of truth. It's usually just the anti-nukers, though. Okay? Yeah, that's just disgusting. That's some Cornel West type madness there. That were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary. Hateful? If somebody is destroying your people, if a young woman is being raped, is she supposed to feel love for her attacker, you can't even say Hebrew Israelite anymore and prove you know what you're talking about. And that's hateful. That's crazy. That's just crazy, all right? I want to clarify any confusion. No, you just went into more confusion on where I stand fighting against anti-Semitism. Who the Semites? That's the big question there. Who the Semites? Right? By apologizing for posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agree with and disagree with. And you still haven't done it. All you've done here is bow down to the Jewish people, and so that no one everything can be untrue, because you got people out here so scared. This for them, reading your post is doing research. Right? I had no intentions to disrespect any Jewish cultural history. No, I don't have any intentions to disrespect any Jewish cultural history. But you have the facts, because that's what history is supposed to be about. Otherwise, it's myth. It's legend. Legends made up to suit whatever tribe of people is trying to buttress up their own sense of self for whatever endeavor they intend. Okay? History is a whole nother measure. That's the conversation that needs to be had. Okay? I didn't mean to disrespect any Jewish cultural history regarding the Holocaust or perpetuate any hate. I don't even know if the Holocaust was even mentioned in the documentary. I'm just saying, where'd that come from? Is anybody recommending putting Jewish people through another and look up the definition of that word Holocaust? We weren't in control of that, but then you putting this in here like suddenly that's what we wish? No, nobody has ever said anything of the sort. Okay? They get to be all traumatized, but for us, we're not even allowed to resurrect our minds from the level of post-traumatic lunacy that they have infested us with. We're not allowed to look at the facts. Just stay a Negro, please. That's the best thing that we've ever invented. Okay? And so let me finish. I am learning from this unfortunate event. You ain't learning the facts. You ain't learning how to grow some balls, dude. Right? And hope we can find understanding between us all. What? In hell? In hell. Because that's where lies prevail. I am no different from any other human being. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Every leaf on a tree is different from the other leaf. Be proud of your differences. Other people should be proud of theirs, but they shouldn't foster upon us their own insecurities and inabilities because they were made in a way that, makes that sun really tough. If the sun's your enemy, what else is going to be your enemy too? Because you're just angry about that. I'm just saying, right? I am a seeker of truth and not. Oh, that's just an outright lie. I could have just started with that last sentence there and skipped everything before it. I am a seeker of truth and knowledge, and I know who I am. No, you don't. And don't put that as a capitalized I am, because that is hearkening back to the Most High himself, who said, I am. What? Ooh, you gonna burn. And I hope the best. But these folks, they join or they agree to something before they achieve fame and fortune, and they got that whole Kobe Bryant Black Mamba, which is just Satanism thing going on. How many of them join that club and then they get conscripted into reading from the script? As I look at Kanye, he ain't apologized for no White Lives Matter. They were rather vicious. Him and Can Dance were rather vicious towards us. No apologies offered whatsoever. And Candace, I see she done a beeline away from Kanye, right? But at the same time, she was up there giving excuses for Hitler. What? Nobody said anything about that whatsoever. I ain't see any Jewish people getting upset over her making excuses for Hitler as long as he kept it inside Germany. Well, who was in Germany? Not quite as many as they say, but I'm just saying. I ain't say who. I'm just saying. Hey? It's crazy. Yeah, now you can't do... This, I understand, was a highly well-produced work of art. Kudos and thank you to the brothers and sisters who put this together. That's a beautiful thing. And yeah, go watch it now. Don't stop with Kyrie and all the rest of these freaking bow down Negroes. Can't build anything. You got all that damn money and you can't build a thing. You ain't nothing but children. You ain't nothing but kept children. That's all you are. You're emancipated Negroes, which means mom and dad will let you stay out till, the sun starts going down. But then you got to come on back to the plantation. Stop it. Being wealthy, using your enemy's means is nothing but being a house Negro. Okay? And all this reparations talk, same thing. If we don't have sovereignty over our own ability to speak the truth, we're all on the plantation. This black nation, furnace of affliction. These are books you should have on your shelf, without a doubt. I did a reading the other day. I enjoyed it. I mean, you don't write and do this much work and you don't enjoy on some level what you're doing. And so you would think that 20, 30 people went out and bought the book. No, not a single person. Not a single person. Because you could go and look at This Black Nation and you'll see it's in the category Black Science Fiction. And if even one person buys a book, it propels it up go up into about 100. If 2 people buy the book, I'm almost at the top of the list because there's only so many books in that category. It's a beautiful thing because our wonderful brother, Yapa, I'm proud of that brother because his success is my success. So his book, Melanin, reached all the way to number 3. It might be at number 1 by now. That's a beautiful thing because that screams that we're done with their narrational oppression of who we are as a people. And that's what all these books are for. So I'm building along with all of us who are doing our best, but I'm the only one warning you about what you are eating in your food. And 1 atom of radiation that inevitably is in your food is the equivalent to eating an entire X-ray machine and leaving it on in your heart every single day, where it will pulse 1,440 times per day. Dr. Nasili Vesterenko in Russia, who studied Chernobyl victims, found that out by doing the pathology on the cadavers of Chernobyl radiation. These are things I know because I do that deep research on your behalf. I'm the first and the only Black person on this whole planet to research the hell of radiation that these white scientists ain't never going to tell you under penalty of death. When you know the devil is in charge, you must fight. You must fight. That's all I'll say on that. Okay? So go buy my books, all 3 of them, right now, family. I love you. Straight Black family, pride, as these bow down Negroes will never say. Always. Peace and blessings.